Hello everybody, what's up? Welcome to another edition of Building My Stock Watch List. This is for the night of September 23rd, 2025. So I don't have much to say before we get started, so let's get right into it. First of all, I need to make a couple of disclaimers. Number one, I am not a professional. Haven't been doing this for very long. Number two, this is not financial advice. We're just all trying to learn together. So, just to give a broad overview of how today was, there were some comments by Fed Chair Powell, who I thought was actually going to be ousted soon, so I'm not really sure exactly why he's still talking, but basically he said that, stocks were expensive and stuff like that, and it's, the market's reacted. But I have to ask, do you really need that guy to tell you that stocks are expensive? You look at some of the PE multiples and they're off the charts. So I don't know, but it was mostly the NASDAQ that got hit. And for me personally, it was kind of just a quiet day. My Tesla did pull back a little bit. That's my only full position. And then my quarter position in GV pulled back, but it's survived. Certainly hasn't gone up enough to add anymore. And then I did add a little bit in Robinhood, just a 25% position. So 6% of my portfolio overall. And that was slightly down as well, but I'm kind of trying to be a little more laid back, a little more gradual with things, so I'm giving these starter positions a lot more space, and if we can see the stocks go up, then I will add a bit more. And I think that this is actually a lot better way to do things, because I can trade during the day. I always get tempted to trade when I'm doing it with full positions all the time. It's not always a good trade, and that hurts me. So when I can, just add a quarter position when I feel like it, that works a lot better for me. So I think I'm onto something with this gradual adding and taking off. But anyway, let's get into the stocks. So these are the top 100 most liquid stocks in the market, because that's what I have time to pay attention to. So we'll start with Tesla. Tesla pulling back a little bit. I would not be surprised if a trip down to the 10 was in the cards. As someone who holds this stock, I'm going to hope for it to hold that and continue higher, which I do think it will. Still holding up very well. In NVIDIA, there's been some news around NVIDIA. Number one, there seems to be some kind of quid pro quo dealing with OpenAI, which people think is kind of inflating things. They also think that they're kind of inflating their numbers in other ways by kind of buying back a lot of their chips and stuff, I guess, or giving companies deals that if they don't sell them, they will buy back their chips. And also the fact that they're kind of getting banned in China, so China's trying to come up with alternatives and competitors for NVIDIA, so there's also that theory. I have to say, the stock didn't break the 50. It didn't close below yesterday. And it's only, maybe 5-6% off highs. So if the market isn't going to worry about this, then I'm not going to worry about it. If it starts breaking down, then there's more reason for concern with NVIDIA, but right now I don't think that anybody should be panicking about the stock. Then we have Apple, just kind of a nice tight day, a nice digestion day. And Palantir, this one holding up really well. Of course, I got shaken out of this one, but I'm not going to cry about it. I don't think it's going to rip by any means, but we'll just have to see. It's, had a nice shakeout today, keeping tight at that inside this bar really. So we'll see if it can kind of go into the moving averages and pop out. But this one looking very nice. And Google just digesting gains. They continue to come out with some of the most consumer-based products. I kind of noticed that maybe OpenAI is trying to take more of a business-focused route based on what I'm seeing, which makes sense because businesses are buying seats in bulk, so that makes a lot of sense. But Google is a lot more closely related to the consumer. They have a lot of interesting consumer and entertainment type AI stuff coming out, and I definitely say that they are the best Mag 7 at capturing AI in terms of the content, So I'm not including NVIDIA in that comparison, but doing a very good job is Google. And then Broadcom, I've kind of been giving this one some time after its gap up. But you do see this one starting to tighten up above the 20, so maybe this one does want to respect the 20. It's definitely had some selling, but it hasn't broken these lows. And I actually had a thought that I put past AI, and basically I asked, so if China developed something to challenge NVIDIA, could Broadcom become the leader in the semi-space? And it said blah blah blah. So it has a lot of these other things. It doesn't really do GPUs, but the point is, if China wants to make their own GPUs, then that might hurt NVIDIA, but it's probably not going to hurt Broadcom as much, which can make it more attractive to investors. And AI said, yes, it could absolutely be more resilient to the Chinese threat compared to GPU-heavy players like NVIDIA, and that might make it more attractive. So I'm not saying that NVIDIA is going to fall behind in the semiconductor space by any means. I'm just saying that I'm just trying to generate some food for thought here on why Broadcom might be a good option if you want to play this area, which I think a lot of people do. And Amazon, I think there's some bad news for Amazon. Meta just, kind of sitting above the 50. Nothing really wrong here, but nothing spectacular. And then Oracle pulling back, but an inside day here. And AMD just continues to look a little bit weak, sitting underneath that 50. Can't regain it for its life. And then Robinhood, I don't really know why I took a small position in this one today, because it's a bit extended from the 10. I guess I used the 1 hour chart. Yeah, it was really tight here, and then it started to move up, so I'm like, why not just put on a quarter position? And I didn't make much progress on it, but it did probably close about flat, and also it didn't really go below this tight range, so I think it'll be a good starter position. And if I get 2-3% on this one, I'll double the position. Get another 2 or 3%, I'll double it again. I think that's a good way to take the pressure off of yourself if you're not 100% sure. And AppLovin, this one looks like it needs a break, but sometimes they just keep on going. And CoreWeave, this one still looks a little bit dangerous to me, but it is continuing to just repair itself and work some of that stuff out. So and here we have Micron. They had earnings tonight. What in the world if I doesn't have any results? Oh, didn't they already happen? See, kind of a muted reaction if they did report earnings. So yeah, I mean, this one holding up, I kind of thought there was a chance that it could get, whacked a little bit on earnings just because it's run up so much. But this one, looking decent. We'll see if it wants to hold this level, what the reaction is tomorrow, and we'll also see if it does pull back, how it wants to pull back. But yeah, not bad. Coinbase looking like it might end up getting turned away at the top of this range, so a little bit unfortunate. Thought this one might turn around and start to lead the Bitcoin theme, but Not looking good here, certainly. I mean, it's not over yet. You can see there was a really good surge of buying volume here, but it just kind of fell apart. So we'll have to see if it can maybe hold this little area right here, or if it's going to just have a leg down. And Oklo, this one, yeah, it just continues to go up. So I can't say anything else about that, really. It's kind of too far gone for me. And SoFi, this is another one that, yep, I kind of thought the run was over around here, but it's gone up another, what, like 20% since then, so this one just can't be stopped, won't be stopped, and I think eventually its day is going to come, but I've said that way too many times to possibly have any more credibility left on calling that top. And then we have Nebius here. Despite the weakness in tech, this one holds up near highs. So this one just an absolute monster. Probably a little too extended for me, unless I want to play it off the 10-hour here. But I think that's a little bit dangerous. Walmart, this one had a failed breakout a few days ago, but it looks like it might get another chance at it. Looks like buyers are supporting this one around the 20, and honestly, I don't see why it wouldn't work, but yeah. Not much else to say on this one. Then AMAT kind of stalling out at these highs, which I kind of expected, but up and after hours, so maybe it pushes through, but this just seems like a really obvious spot for it to pull back and rest a bit. Then we have GEV. This is one I have a quarter position in, just kind of coming down to these moving averages, these clustered moving averages, and bouncing off. So, you know, no shame here. I'm not worried about it whatsoever. And over these highs, I'll probably go up to a 50% position. CrowdStrike just kind of orderly, pulling back down. We'll see if it can catch on these moving averages and maybe have a bit of a wedge pop. In Quantum, speculative names continue to rip to the upside. Same thing with Rigetti. Home Depot, I kind of thought this one looked like it might want to take out these highs, but it looks like this one could be rolling over on some pretty decent volume. Not that I was really planning to trade that one, and then, yep, following the Bitcoin theme, you know, with Coinbase and stuff, this stablecoin circle here looks like it wants to fail as well, potentially. I guess we'll watch to see if it can maybe turn around here and make some sort of double bottom, but yeah, until then, it's just a stay away from me. HIMS, I always say, I just avoid this stock, and there's a reason for it. I mean, it is starting to tighten up a bit. We aren't seeing such wild swings, but, you know, once it tightens up, you might buy it and be in for a 20% gap one way or the other, so it's not for me. And then Snowflake, I cited, or I talked about how this one was starting to look a little bit better, and like it might want to start moving higher. I talked about how the AI software and applications theme might start to follow in the footsteps of the infrastructure. This one coming back down to its 50-hour line, if it can hold that and make a higher low, I think it's definitely fair game. But I'm already in GV, which is an AI name, so I guess I have room for one more AI name. I'm just not sure if this is the one that I necessarily want to start working on. And then we have Reddit here with a very nasty, nasty day. Talked about how this volatility up here was not a good sign, and we just continue to sell off on this one. So yeah, this one looks like it's kind of a magnet for the 50 at this point. that could definitely change. It could just kind of catch itself here, but definitely not looking super good. You can see all these banks really kind of reversed at highs. Not quite sure if that's going to be an issue. And certainly they do deserve a rest and a pullback. It's not like they broke through any prior days, so I think it's going to probably be okay, but it looks like the bank trend might take a very small pause here. I mean, you look at back here, it kind of did the same thing, and then it just kept going. So no need to sound the alarm on the banks yet, but certainly a bit of a resting look to these. And then Caterpillar as well, so maybe it's more Dow type names, more of those safety type names that are doing this type of thing. When we see GE Aerospace accelerating to the upside here, so that one just kind of a quiet breakout. I think I tried this one on this date right here. I wouldn't mind still be holding it at this point, but it's too late for me. Not necessarily too late, but I just think there are other things I'd rather get into. And then Iran, that's too far gone for me. Arista, this one, I kind of thought it might be a magnet for the 50 after this one, but it's starting to recover nicely, maybe get a little more tighter. It's not necessarily surfing any particular moving average, respecting the 20 fairly well. So this one, I think there are better things in the AI peripheral space, like ALAB for example. However, this one doesn't look like it's going to fall apart. It looks like it might continue on higher after it gets a chance to tighten up maybe just a bit more. And then ALAB, this one I really thought about buying it today, but I didn't want to be making a bunch of buys on such a nasty day. But this one, if it starts up tomorrow, maybe I could just accumulate a 25% position, and then maybe it just kind of moves sideways and tightens up. We get another shot to double it, and then if it breaks this high, we can start the full position. So this one, I thought this might be a lockout rally in the stock. I thought we might not get another shot at it. Looks like it's going to give us another shot. Just don't want to wait too long and end up screwing it up. So we'll see about that one. And SoundHound kind of having a reversal here. It was very strong early in the day, but sellers did step in over this, coming over this resistance level. So this one, we'll see if it can hold up. Yeah, just another speculative quantum. And here we have another speculative, well, I don't know if they might actually make some decent money. Let's see what they do. I think the stock just moves based on things that get launched into space, but yeah, they're not making money. They are accelerating their revenue a little bit though, so it's decent. So yeah, this one comes back up to highs. I don't really expect it to work necessarily. Seems like it came up a little too fast for me without working through some of that selling. It's been very volatile. I don't really expect this one to work, but that doesn't mean that it won't work. These news heavy stocks can certainly turn on a dime, so not for me, but probably will just watch it. In Mongo database, this one actually to me starting to look pretty good. I know it's pretty far down still. It's not, this isn't a pretty chart by any means. It's certainly not trending very much, but this one, let's look at the volume compared to some of those. So this was definitely the highest volume. This was actually the highest volume ever, I think. So that's actually a sign that this could be something big. And you see that this one has just kind of been holding this line. I wasn't too excited about it, but you look at the hourly chart, it has fallen underneath this 50-hour line, but I don't know, just the volume was so good and so intense there. And this one, we'll just have to see what happens with it, but I'm starting to like it a little bit more than I was in the past. In Roblox, this one coming off highs, looks like the overhead selling just kind of continues. this one has no overhead selling. This has been one of the easiest holds except for this earnings day, so I don't really talk about this one much because it's not very liquid compared to a lot of these semi and data center type names. I think that's the theme that it's in, but certainly you wouldn't be mad at yourself if you had bought this one. Imara, this looks like it could potentially make a little bit of a handle and maybe pop up. It's just a little too volatile and crazy for me, so I'm good on that one. And VRT, a very, very bad look for VRT. This one had a little bit of a breakout yesterday, and then it just got completely slammed down on much heavier volume today. Not a good sign for VRT there. And Spotify just pulling back to the 10. I told you this one likes to do stuff like this. It does not like to just break out and run. So this would actually probably be a decent place to grab a small position. I just don't really get too excited about runs like this. Like, I'm not going to scoff at that. That's a nice run, but that being said, I think there are probably better things for me to be buying right now. And here we have Carvana doing a similar thing, pulling back to its 10. This one, though, I'm feeling pretty optimistic that it can break into all-time highs, in which case it will really probably start to run. And here we have Bloom just taking a rest day. Sometimes when you have these insane runs like this, you'll see something kind of pull back, and then it will be a bit of a bear trap, and it will make one last climactic run before really blowing off. So this one, it could still make another run, but I think if you've been in this stock, you've made the easiest money you're going to make. I certainly wouldn't mind taking off like half of the position or something, but that's just a pipe dream to be in this stock for me. I'm not in this stock. It came onto my radar too late, but certainly it's been a fantastic run for this one. Then we have Tempest, just some follow-on weakness, no surprise after a nasty failed breakout like that. And Shopify getting turned away at highs, still holding the 10. Nothing terribly wrong here, but yeah, it looks like there's still some selling. We'll see if it can kind of hold this little consolidation level down here. So we'll see. And then we're back to Tesla. So let's see how many stocks we have on the blue list, which is my watch list. And we've got 25. Perfect. How could I have possibly known? Well, guys, I hope somebody watches this video. If you do, maybe drop me a comment and a like. But I will see you guys next time. So thank you.